Hello, everyone. My name is Maya Raj. I am playing Therese Blanchet. She is the Secretary General of the Council of the European Union and the European Council. I'm also student director this year. I'm just going to walk everyone through writing agenda items, and then also we have a few off-campus events happening this year that we haven't done in previous years. And then also, my fellow members of the student leadership team are going to be talking through their roles and the different committees that they're in charge of. So let me just share my screen real quick. This year, we have a few off-campus events, like I said. These are optional, but Niagara Falls, which we've had in the past, a dinosaur barbecue, a dinner at the dinosaur barbecue, which happens, both of those happen on Thursday. Friday morning, we have the Buffalo City Hall. We will be addressed by different members of the local Buffalo government. And new this year on Saturday after the conference, there's a student mixer at Days Park Tavern. It's a $15 cover fee, but that includes a buffet and a drink ticket. Like it says here, you do not need to be 21 to attend the mixer, but you do need to be 21 to drink alcohol. Everyone will get a drink ticket regardless, and you can give your drink ticket to a friend for them to have a drink, or you can use it for a mocktail. Before I start talking about writing agenda items, I would like to turn it to my fellow members of the student leadership team for them to talk about their roles and their preferences for agenda items. Molly, would you like to start?
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I'm from Hofstra University, and I've been doing the Model EU simulation this is about to be my third year. This year, Belgium is heading the EU presidency, and I am the head of government for Belgium. So if you haven't done the Model EU simulation before, how it works when you have the rotating EU presidency is it's made up of four members. You have the head of government, you have Coreper, you have the foreign minister, and you have the ECOFIN minister. As I mentioned, I'm playing the head of government. This year, that's Alexander De Croo, or not this year, but it's Alexander De Croo. And basically, the role of the head of government is to discuss in the committee issues regarding treaties, enlargement, border issues, foreign policy matters sometimes, and any other agenda items that might be presented. In terms of ECOFIN, basically that role will be headed by, it will be headed by Kashmira, who's not here today. No, not Kashmir, I'm sorry. It will be headed by another member of Hofstra, and it basically discusses any issues that have to do with economics or finances with the agenda items. I'm excited.
Do you have any preferences for agenda items you'd like to see in the head of government group?
So our team actually just met to discuss our own agenda items, and I think that there's some interesting new issues that are arising. Last year, we started to see a little bit of AI and cybersecurity. I think it would be interesting to have a bit more of that because it's a new topic that hasn't really been fully fleshed out because it is so new. So if we can have some on that, I think border security is also something that would be interesting to see a bit more of. But as always, Schengen zone issues and migration are always safe topics that we usually see year to year.
Thank you so much, Molly. Charles, would you like to talk a bit about your role?
Yeah, sure. Hello everyone. My name is Charles Burgart. I am taking on the role of Charles Michel. president of the European Council. You can also call me CJ, that's my nickname. But if you ever get confused, just remember there's Charles playing the role of Charles for both Charleses. But this is my third year doing SUNY MEU. And basically, for those who aren't really sure about what the European Council does, Molly kind of touched upon this before. But the European Council is kind of like the collective head of state of the European Union. It comprises the heads of state or government of each of the 27 member states, and it is presided over by its president, which would be me. In terms of what it actually does, it's kind of like the sort of like the policy, or like it guides the overall direction of the European Union. It's one of the components of the European legislative process, whereas the Commission is like the executive that actually executes the laws and brings stuff to the European Parliament. The European Council kind of creates the overall objectives for the rest of the European Union to follow. And as Molly mentioned, we focus on treaties, other really high level stakes that occur between the sovereign states of the UN. And yeah, I'll be there. I'll be the person chairing the meetings of the European Council. Maya, did you want me to like explain things that I might want to see implemented, like directives, or is that like for the other, just for Molly? Because like I'm like more of like I guess a neutral position, or I'm supposed to be neutral.
Well, both of you are, the three of us collectively are choosing what agenda items we want for head of
Oh, okay.
the group. So if you want to talk about what you'd be interested in, go for it. I'm
Mhm.
more than happy to hear your opinions.
Yeah, sure. One thing that I did propose last year, when I was head of government for Germany, that ultimately did not get accepted, was expanding the powers of the European Parliament. It's been something that a lot of European politicians have been talking about, because the EU Parliament is I think the second, or no, the largest democratically, or either the first or second largest, democratically elected, legislature in the world. But the problem is, at least for a lot of MPs and for Europeans, is that it lacks the power of initiative. So it can debate and pass legislation proposed to it by other EU institutions, but it can't actually initiate legislation itself. And that's a big concern a lot of people have, especially when trying to describe the EU as a democratic institution. And so something that I might be interested in, or something that I think that maybe some of you might be interested in, is drafting an agenda item or a proposal to reconsider the powers of the European Parliament. As the EU European Council and as the representatives of the 27 heads of state and government, the treaties are under our prerogative. Only we, the sovereign states themselves, can amend those treaties. And because the EU Parliament's responsibilities are outlined in those treaties, that makes this topic of particular interest to the European Council. So that's something that maybe some of you might want to think about. But regardless, I'm sure they'll have a lot of interesting things to talk about. But that's all I have to say. Back to you, Maya.
Thank you so much, CJ, for that. I'd like to turn the Zoom to Samuel, who is Vice President, and he will be chairing the Foreign Affairs Committee. Sam?
Hello, can you hear me? Hi, everyone. My name is Samuel. As Maya stated, I will be the High Representative slash Vice President of the Foreign Affairs Council. So what does that mean? That just basically means that this role is responsible for shaping the standing of the EU on the global stage. So it means once the Foreign Affairs Council has decided on a policy, I will say, this is our policy, and I also negotiate on behalf of member states as well as our other allies.
Do you have any preferences for agenda items you'd like to see in the Foreign Affairs Committee?
Not anything this year. I don't have anything in mind.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sam. Molly earlier talked a little bit about the finance or ecofin. So I'm going to turn it to Josh to talk about co-repper.
Hi, I'm Joshua Black from also from Hofstra University with Molly. I'm going to be representing as Maya said Belgium's ambassador Willem van de Voorde. And yeah, so essentially as co-repper, we're serving as kind of the connective tissues between the member states and the EU Parliament. We're covering a lot of the more broad day-to-day issues like transportation, working conditions, environment. Essentially, the stuff that won't be fitting into the other roles is going to be our responsibility.
Do you have any preferences for things you would like to see in your committee?
As Molly said, we just talked about a lot of our ideas for proposals, and a lot of it came back to environment and security. And security may be a bit more suited to the heads of government, but environment, migration, things like that could also work for co-reppers.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Josh. Before I start talking about agenda items or anything like that, does anyone want clarification on does anyone want any clarification on our roles or what we do? Sorry. No? Then just give me 1 second to set up my presentation. So just a quick overview on how to write agenda items. There is a comprehensive guide found in the IUSS Guide to SUNYMU, which can be found on the website. It's this link right here. The guide starts on page 44 on the online version, or if you have a hard copy, it's page 36. So agenda items are due March 20th, which is 10 days away. Late submissions will be accepted on a case-by-case basis, but basically the earlier the better. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give is don't worry about the format, focus on the content. Any formatting issues I will fix with the rest of the general secretariat, which this year, it's myself and a few other Buffalo State students, Madison Sierra, Lorraine Bufazio, and Sarah Barlinger. But a title saying what your government is and what you want to do. The background, you can just think about it as writing the background in an essay, talk about what the issue is, how it's affecting the EU, and what needs to be done to provide a solution. And then offer recommendations for how to do it and break them down into subsections. There is a very comprehensive sample provided. It does not need to be as lengthy as this. This is one of the longer ones, but it has every element that you need. Speaking of which, Stephen, would you like to talk a bit about your role in the commission?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I'm Steve Stouter. I will be playing Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission. Alex and Michael, Alex Wave, I don't know if Michael's got his camera on. They'll be also on the commission with me. Basically, so our role will be basically, we have sort of two kind of things. Basically, we're going to be representing the interests of the European Union as a whole on the committees rather than just one specific nation. And then also we will be sort of making sure that all of the agendas and things that are passed in the committees are in compliance with the treaties and other founding documents and existing EU law. So yeah, so the basically the commission is part of the sort of executive of the European Union and are basically is tasked with sort of implementing all the things that the council and that the council and committees end up implementing. So yeah, that's gonna be sort of a very game day role, but that's what we do.
Yes, thank you for that, Stephen. When it comes to researching agenda items, if you're having trouble like finding stuff your country is interested in or initiatives that they have implemented in the past, I highly recommend looking at problems within your country and then seeing if it affects other countries. One of the agenda submissions we have gotten so far this year, it's on increasing the birthing rate in Europe, specifically in like the Baltics region, which is something that they don't have an initiative for, but the head of government saw it was an issue and looked at surrounding countries geographically, noticed that it was also an issue for them. So you might have to think outside of the box if you're one of the smaller countries that don't have as many initiatives. But yeah. Does anyone have any questions on writing agenda items or anything like that? Any of the off-campus events or any follow-up questions for myself or the rest of the student leadership team? I'll take the silence as a no. Thank you so much for your time. This was short and sweet. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to email me. You can email me through the IEUSS Gmail account or through my personal account, which I am putting in the chat right now. It is rajms01@buffalostate.edu. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for your time. And if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to follow up, or if you're having trouble coming up with ideas, this recording will be posted. You have all of the ideas that my colleagues on the student leadership team submitted, and feel free to reach out to me and I can help workshop with you. Thank you so much.